Admiral Jack Morrison stood at the big window on his ship's control room. He looked out at the strange purple cloud in space ahead of them. The cloud was huge and twisted in ways that hurt to look at. This place was called the Kepler Expanse, and no one was allowed to go there. 3 years ago, 12 ships from different alien worlds had gone into that purple cloud. None of them ever came back. The Galactic Council said the place was too dangerous. They put up warning signs all around it and told everyone to stay far away. But Jack Morrison was not like other people. He was the leader of Earth's biggest war, fleet, and he had a problem. His best listening machines had been picking up signals from inside that forbidden cloud. The signals sounded like people calling for help. Human People Captain Lisa Carter walked up to him. She was his second in command and had been with him for many years. Her face showed worry. "Sir, we are getting warning messages from the Council's robot guards. They say all ships must stay 50 light-years away from the cloud." Jack's jaw got tight. He had been studying this place for months. The science people had found things the Council either could not see or did not want to see. There were patterns in the energy that looked like they were made by thinking beings, not nature. Even worse, their best equipment had picked up weak distress calls that matched the way Earth ships sent signals. "What is our fleet doing right now?" Jack asked. "All 12 of our biggest warships are ready, sir. The Thunder, Lightning, and Phantom are watching the edges. The engine rooms say all our fastest drives are working perfectly." Lieutenant Commander Ben Hayes called out from his station, where he handled all the talking between ships. "Admiral, we have an important message coming from Earth Command." A blue light appeared in the air, showing the face of Director Susan Bell. She was the boss of Earth's deep space work. Usually she looked calm, but today she seemed upset. "Jack, I know what you are thinking, and the answer is no. The Council has made it very clear that Cloud is forbidden territory." Closer to the floating image. "Ma'am, with respect, the Council cannot tell us what to do when human lives are in danger. Those signals we found are not just random space noise. Someone is alive in there, and they are our people. The risk is too big," Bell said back. "We could start a war with 5 major alien governments. Since when does Earth run away from protecting its people?" Jack's voice carried the weight of many years as a soldier. "The fleet is already here. My crews are ready. All I need is your permission." Bell was quiet for a long time. Jack could see other Earth Command officers behind her talking in angry whispers. Finally, she nodded slowly. "Yeah, 48 hours, Admiral. Get in. Find out what happened to our people, and get out. But Jack, if you meet Council forces, you do what they say. We cannot afford a war." The blue light disappeared, leaving the control room very quiet. Jack turned to Carter. "I tell all ships, we are going in." The Earth fleet had been in space near the Forbidden Zone for 3 days. Jack had brought his 12 best ships and his most trusted crews. These were not exploration vessels or science ships. These were warships, built to fight and protect. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a small moon. But as Jack looked at the twisting purple cloud ahead, he wondered if weapons would be enough. The Kepler Expanse was not just dangerous because of gravity problems or energy storms. Something was wrong with space itself in there. Their instruments showed readings that made no sense according to the laws of physics they knew. "Sir Carter," said, looking at her display screen, "I am reading the same signals again. They are definitely coming from deep inside the cloud. The pattern matches Emergency Code 7. Emergency Code 7 was the most serious distress call Earth ships could send. It meant the crew was in immediate danger and needed rescue right away. Jack had hoped he was wrong about those signals, but now he was sure. Human beings were trapped in the Forbidden Zone, and they were running out of time. Dr. Patricia Woods, his chief science officer, came onto the control room from her lab. "Admiral, I have been studying the energy patterns from the cloud. They are not natural. Something is controlling them, shaping them. It is like the cloud itself is alive." "What do you mean alive?" Jack asked. "The energy moves in patterns that suggest intelligence, sir. It responds to things around it. When our ships get closer, the patterns change. When we back away, they change again. Whatever is in their nose, we are here." Jack felt a cold feeling in his stomach. If something intelligent was controlling the expanse, then the missing ships might not have been destroyed by accidents. Might have been taken on purpose. Commander Roy Fisher's voice came through the communication system from his ship, the Lightning. Admiral, my navigation team is picking up something strange. There are artificial gravity wells positioned around the edge of the cloud. They are too regular to be natural. Jack studied the tactical display that showed where all his ships were positioned. The gravity wells Roy mentioned formed a pattern around the entrance to the expanse. It looked almost like a gate or doorway into the forbidden zone. Carter, run a deep scan for any pieces of destroyed ships or energy signatures from known alien vessel types, Jack ordered. Several minutes passed while Carter's team worked. Finally, she looked up with a confused expression. Sir, there is no trace of any destroyed ships. No broken pieces, no energy signatures, nothing at all. That is impossible, Jack said. 12 ships went in there and never came out. There should be wreckage somewhere, unless they were not destroyed, Dr. Woods said quietly. Unless they were captured intact. The idea sent a chill through everyone on the control room. If the missing ships had been captured instead of destroyed, their crews might still be alive. But it also meant something in the expanse was actively collecting ships and crews from different worlds. Jack made his decision. He had not brought Earth's most powerful fleet this far to turn back now. Human lives were at stake, and that was all that mattered. Signal all ships, he commanded. Battle stations. Charge all weapons and raise shields. We are going into the Kepler expanse, and we are going to find our people. The 12 Earth warships moved forward in tight formation toward the swirling purple cloud. Behind them, space was normal and safe. Ahead of them lay the unknown, where no one was supposed to go. But Jack Morrison had never been good at following rules when lives were on the line. The human fleet entered the purple cloud slowly and carefully. All 12 ships stayed close together with their protective shields turned up to full power. Their weapons were ready to fire at any threat. But what they found inside the Kepler expanse was not what anyone expected. As soon as they crossed into the cloud, all their instruments started showing impossible readings. Space itself seemed to bend and twist around them like soft clay. Strange lights flashed in colors that had no names. The purple mist swirled in patterns that looked almost like roads through the darkness. Admiral Jack Morrison watched his main screen with growing amazement. Instead of the deadly chaos they had expected, the cloud seemed to be guiding them along. Safe paths. Corridors of clear space opened up in front of their ships, leading them deeper into the heart of the expanse. Chief Science Officer Dr. Patricia Woods called from her ship, the Thunder. Her voice came through the communication system with excitement and fear mixed together. Admiral, these are not natural events. The energy patterns are too exact, too organized. It is like the cloud itself is showing us where to go, Commander. Roy Fisher, captain of the Lightning, added his own strange discoveries. Sir, my navigation team is finding artificial gravity wells placed at regular distances. They are creating a pathway deeper into the cloud. Jack studied the tactical display showing his fleet's movement. The pathway was leading them toward the center of the cloud, where their long-distance sensors had first detected the human distress signals. But something else bothered him. They should have found the wreckage of those 12 missing alien ships by now. Carter, run a deep scan for metal pieces or energy signatures from known alien ship types. Jack ordered his second-in-command. Captain Lisa Carter worked at her station for several minutes. When she looked up, her face showed confusion. There is no sign of any destroyed ships. There's no broken pieces, no energy signatures, nothing at all. Lieutenant Kelly Stone from the weapons station spoke up. Admiral, I am detecting huge structures ahead. They're hidden inside the energy storms. But they are definitely made by intelligent beings. The main viewing screen cleared as their sensors cut through the surrounding energy clouds. What they saw made everyone on the control room fall silent. Floating in front of them was a massive space station, easily 10 times larger than Earth's biggest orbital facility. The station's design was unlike anything in the known galaxy databases. It had smooth curves that flowed like water, mixed with sharp geometric shapes that hurt to look at directly. The whole structure seemed both incredibly old and possibly advanced at the same time. But what truly shocked Jack and his crew were the ships. Attached to the station's many docking bays, he recognized the sleek lines of the Explorer, one of Earth's deep space research vessels that had vanished 2 years ago. Next to it were ships from the Centauri colonies, vessels that had been reported missing over the past 5 years. "My God," Carter whispered. "They are all here. It's all the missing human ships." Jack's mind raced with questions. If the ships were whole and docked safely, that meant their crews might still be alive. But who had built this enormous station? And why were they collecting human ships? "Signal the fleet," Jack commanded. "Battle stations. We do not know what we are dealing with, but we are going to find out." As the human war fleet approached the mysterious station, new contacts appeared on their sensor screens. 12 ships emerged from hidden positions around the structure. But these were not human ships. Jack recognized their designs from intelligence. Reports, Captain Scott Baker from the Phantom identified them first. "Admiral, those are Zephyrian cruisers, Altoran frigates, and what looks like a hegemony dreadnought. They are the missing council ships." The alien vessels moved into formation to intercept the human fleet, but their weapons stayed powered down. They seemed more interested in blocking the path than starting a fight. Jack had to make a decision that could change first contact rules. For all time, "Open a communication channel to all vessels," he ordered. The response did not come from the alien ships. Instead, it came from the massive station itself. The voice that spoke was clearly human, with a slight southern accent that reminded Jack of home. "Earth Fleet, this is Commander Danny Price of the Explorer." "Admiral Morrison, I think? We have been watching you approach?" Jack felt relief and confusion at the same time. "Commander Price, you are alive. What is your status? Are your people safe?" "We are more than safe, Admiral. We are home, or at least what has become our home for the past 2 years. You need to dock with the station. There is something you need to see, something that changes everything we thought we knew about humanity's place in the galaxy." Captain Carter leaned close to Jack. "Sir, this could be a trap." "We do not know what happened to them, Commander Price." Jack continued. "What about the council ships? Why are they here?" Price's voice carried a note of amusement that seemed strange given the situation. "They are here for the same reason we are, Admiral. They have learned the truth about what is in the expanse, about what has been waiting here for us." Jack felt the weight of command pressing down on him. Every instinct told him this was dangerous. But the human ships were there, apparently safe. Their crews were alive and talking. If there was even a chance of getting them home, he had to take it. Against all tactical wisdom, but following his gut feelings, Jack ordered the fleet to dock with the station. As his ship's airlocks connected with the massive structure, he prepared his security team for anything. The first thing Jack noticed when he stepped onto the station was that it felt comfortable, almost familiar. The gravity was exactly like Earth's. The air was perfect for human breathing. The lights were warm and welcoming instead of harsh and alien. Commander Price met them at the airlock. He looked healthier than any person should after 2 years on a supposedly abandoned station. His smile was genuine, but there was something different about his eyes. They held knowledge that had not been there before. "Welcome to Haven Station," Admiral Price said, reaching out his hand. "Built by the architects about 50,000 years ago, waiting for us to find it." Jack shook the offered hand, studying Price's face for any signs of lies or force. "The architects? The species? That came before us, Admiral. The ones who planted the seeds of life throughout the galaxy. This station, the entire expanse, it is a testing ground. Not just for humans, but for any species that develops the courage to go into the unknown despite being told not to." As Price led them deeper into the station, Jack began to understand they had found something much bigger than a rescue mission. The corridors were filled with humans and aliens working together, studying devices that seemed to bend light and space around themselves. "Commander," Jack said, "what exactly have you discovered here?" Price stopped walking and turned to face him. "Admiral, we have found the answer to why humans are different from every other species in the galaxy. We have found out why we never give up, why we always push forward, why we cannot ignore a call for help. And what is that answer? Price smiled. We were designed to be guardians, Admiral. And this station is where we learn how. Admiral Jack Morrison followed Commander Price deeper into Haven Station. The hallways were wide and filled with soft light that reminded him of Earth's sunrise. Everywhere he looked, humans and aliens were working together on machines that seemed to glow with their own inner light. This does not make sense, Captain Lisa Carter whispered to Jack as they walked. How can humans and council species be cooperating? Our governments barely talk to each other without fighting. Price heard her comment and smiled. Captain, when you discover something bigger than your old problems, those problems start to seem very small. Wait until you see what we have learned. Entered a large room with walls made of some clear material that showed the space outside. But instead of the purple cloud they had flown through, Jack saw normal stars and planets. It was like looking through a window into a completely different part of the galaxy. The view changes depending on who is looking, Price explained. The station exists in multiple places at the same time. Do not ask me to explain how. I have been here 2 years, and I still do not understand it completely. Tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms approached them. Jack recognized the species as Zephyrian, one of the most advanced civilizations in the Council. Admiral Morrison, the alien said in perfect English, I am Captain Helen Ross of the research vessel Starseeker. You have been waiting to meet. You? Waiting for me specifically? Jack asked. Waiting for Earth's military to arrive, Ross replied. The testing protocols require representatives from each species warrior class. You are the first human military leader to reach the station. Oh, Jack felt more confused by the minute. Testing protocols? What kind of test? Before anyone could answer, the room's lights dimmed and a new voice filled the air.
Ow.
It did not come from any speaker Jack could see. Instead, it seemed to form directly inside his head. Welcome, Admiral Morrison of Earth. I am Keeper Nexus, guardian of this facility. A figure appeared in the center of the room, but Jack could not tell if it was really there or just an image. The being was tall and thin, with features that seemed to shift between familiar and completely alien. When it moved, space around it bent like water. You are one of the architects, Jack said. It was not a question. I am the last architect assigned. To this station, yes. My people departed this galaxy long ago, but we left behind tools for those who would come after us. This station is one of those tools. Jack's security team moved closer, their hands near their weapons. The Keeper noticed but did not seem concerned. Your weapons cannot harm me, Admiral, but I appreciate your caution. It shows the protective instinct that brought you here. Dr. Patricia Woods, who had come over from the Thunder, stepped forward with her scanner in hand. The energy readings are off the charts. This being exists partially outside our normal dimension. Correct, Dr. Woods? I exist in what you might call the spaces between realities. This allows me to observe and guide without directly interfering. Commander, Price gestured for everyone to sit at a large table that seemed to grow out of the floor. Admiral, what the Keeper is about to tell you will change everything you think you know about humanity's future. Jack sat down, but kept his eyes on the architect. I am listening. The Keeper moved closer, and as it did, images began appearing in the air around them. Jack saw star systems, planets covered with cities, and ships traveling between worlds. But he also saw darker things. Massive machines that consumed entire suns. Creatures made of pure energy that drained the life from planets. Wars that destroyed civilizations. The galaxy faces threats that the current council cannot imagine, the Keeper explained. Every few million years, forces from outside this galaxy attempt to invade and consume all life within it. My people, the architects, served as guardians against these threats for eons. Captain Carter leaned forward. What happened to your people? We grew tired, Captain. Millions of years of constant vigilance took its toll. We began to fade, to lose interest in the physical universe. Before we departed, we created this testing system to find suitable replacements. Jack felt a cold understanding growing in his mind. You were looking for a species to take over as galactic guardians. Not just any species, Admiral. Oh. The role requires very specific qualities. Intelligence, yes, but also courage, adaptability, and most importantly, the willingness to sacrifice for others without expecting reward. The images in the air changed to show different alien species. Jack recognized some of them from council records. How many species have you tested? Over the past 50,000 years, we have evaluated 47 different civilizations. Some showed promise but lacked the necessary drive. Others had the strength but not the wisdom. A few had both, but were too focused on their own advancement. To care about others, Captain Ross spoke up. My people, the Zephyrians, were tested 300 years ago. We failed because we sought knowledge for its own sake, not to protect others and humans, Jack asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. The Keeper's form seemed to brighten slightly. Humans are unique, Admiral. In all our testing, across multiple galaxies, we have rarely encountered a species with your particular combination of traits. You are individually weak compared to many species. Yet you consistently overcome impossible odds through cooperation and determination. That does not make us special, Jack said. Lots of species work together. True, but how many would risk their entire fleet to investigate distress signals from the Forbidden Zone? How many would ignore warnings from superior powers to save strangers? How many would put themselves in danger for people they have never met? Dr. Woods looked up from her scanner. Admiral, I am detecting massive energy buildups throughout the station. Whatever this test is, I think it is about to begin. The Keeper nodded. The preliminary evaluation is complete. Admiral Morrison, your fleet's arrival here, despite all warnings and obstacles, has triggered the final phase of testing, but I must warn you, this test cannot be stopped once it begins, and failure means more than just the loss of your ships. Jack stood up, his hand instinctively moving to his sidearm. What do you mean? If humanity fails this test, Admiral, not only will your fleet be destroyed, the knowledge of Earth's location will be erased from all galactic records. Your species will be isolated, cut off from the rest of the galaxy forever. The room fell silent. Jack looked around at his officers, at Commander Price, and the other humans who had been living on this station, at the alien crew members who had somehow become their allies. And if we pass, he asked, then humanity becomes the new guardian species, protector of all life in this galaxy. You will be given technology beyond your current understanding, knowledge of threats you cannot imagine, and the responsibility for the survival of every civilization in the Milky Way. Jack felt the weight of the decision pressing down on him. He had come here to rescue missing humans. Now he was being asked to decide the fate of his entire species. How long do I have to decide? The Keeper's form began to fade. The test has already begun, Admiral. Your choices from this moment forward will determine humanity's future. Choose wisely. As the architect disappeared, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Dr. Woods looked at her scanner with growing alarm. Admiral, massive energy signatures are approaching from outside the station. Something big is coming, and it does not look friendly. Jack looked out the transparent walls and saw lights moving in the darkness. They were getting brighter, getting closer. Whatever the test was, it was about to arrive. All hands to battle. Stations, he commanded. Looks like we're going to find out what humanity is really made of. The lights approaching Haven Station were not ships. As they got closer, Admiral Jack Morrison could see they were something much worse. Massive creatures made of dark energy floated through space like hungry shadows. Each one was the size of a moon, with tentacles that reached out for miles in every direction. What are those things? Captain Lisa Carter asked, her voice tight with fear. Dr. Patricia Woods studied her scanner readings with shaking hands. Admiral, they are not made of normal matter. They seem to be pure energy, but they are definitely alive, and they are heading straight for us. Commander Danny Price moved to another control panel. These are void feeders, Admiral. The architects showed us recordings of them. They consume life energy from entire planets, leaving dead rocks behind. Jack watched the creatures approach. On the main screen, there were dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Each one moved with purpose, like they knew exactly where they were going. Are they part of the test? No, said a familiar voice in their heads. Keeper Nexus appeared again, but this time the architect looked worried. The void feeders are real. They've found this station, which should be impossible. Something has gone wrong with our concealment systems. Captain Helen Ross from the Zephyrian ship joined them in the command center. Keeper, our sensors show. More contacts approaching from the other direction. Ships this time, but not any design we recognize. Jack looked at the tactical display. The new contacts were mechanical vessels, all sharp angles and glowing red lights. They moved in perfect formation like a swarm of deadly insects. Let me guess. More bad news? Machine devourers? Price said grimly. Another species, the architects, have been holding back. They turn entire star systems into raw materials for building more ships. The situation was getting worse by the minute. Jack realized this was not just a test anymore. Something had detected the station and brought real threats to their location. If these creatures got past Haven Station, they would have a direct path to the inhabited parts of the galaxy. Keeper, what are our defenses? Jack demanded. The station has powerful shields and weapons, but they were not designed to fight both void feeders and machine devourers at the same time. We need your fleet to help us. Jack felt the weight of command settling on his shoulders. His 12 warships were powerful by human standards, but they looked tiny compared to the approaching threats. Still, running away was not an option. Many lives depended on stopping these creatures here. All ships. This is Admiral Morrison, he spoke into his communicator. We have hostile contacts approaching the station. Unknown alien threats. Extremely dangerous. All vessels prepare for combat. The responses came back immediately. Every captain in his fleet acknowledged the order without question. Now, these were Earth's best crews, and they would follow him into hell if he asked them to. Dr. Alice Turner, the chief scientist from the Explorer, rushed into the command center carrying a datapad. Admiral, I've been studying the architect weapon systems. They work on principles we do not understand, but I think I can show your people how to use them. What kind of weapons are we talking about? Jack asked. Reality manipulators, Admiral? They can change the basic laws of physics in small areas. Turn solid matter into energy, reverse gravity, even slow down time itself. Jack stared at her. That sounds like magic. Any technology advanced enough looks like magic to less developed species, Turner replied. The architects have had millions of years to perfect these systems. Commander Roy Fisher's voice came through the communication system from the Lightning. Admiral, the enemy contacts are splitting up. Half the void feeders are moving to attack the station directly. The machine devourers are trying to surround us. Jack made a quick decision. Fisher, take the Lightning, Thunder, and Phantom to engage the machine devourers. Keep them away from the station. The rest of the fleet will help defend against the void feeders. Understood, sir. The space around Haven Station suddenly filled with weapons fire. Earth's warships opened up with everything they had, sending streams of missiles and energy beams toward the approaching threats. But their conventional weapons seemed to have little effect on the void feeders. Admiral Dr. Turner called out. The station's weapons are online. I can give you targeting control for some of them. A new control panel rose from the floor in front of Jack. The symbols on it were completely alien. But somehow he understood what they meant. When he touched one of the controls, space around a group of void feeders suddenly turned inside out. The creatures were pulled apart by forces that should not exist. How am I able to understand this? Jack asked. Keeper Nexus appeared beside him. The testing process has been analyzing your mind for compatibility with architect technology. Are naturally suited to interface with our systems. Another wave of void feeders approached the station. Jack touched different controls, learning how each weapon worked. One turned the creatures to stone. Another made them forget how to exist. A third opened holes in space that sucked them into nowhere. But for every enemy Jack destroyed, 2 more appeared. The machine devourers were proving even harder to stop. Their ships could repair damage almost instantly and adapt to whatever weapons were used against them. Captain Scott Baker from the Phantom sent an urgent message. Admiral, we are taking heavy damage. These machine ships learn from every attack. We make our weapons are becoming less effective. Jack realized they were fighting a losing battle. Conventional approach was not working. He needed to think like a human, not like a textbook military commander. All ships, new orders, Jack announced. Stop trying to destroy the enemy. Instead, protect each other. Form defensive circles around damaged vessels. Use your shields too. Block attacks on your wingman. Ah, sir. That goes against all tactical doctrine, Captain Carter said. Exactly. These enemies expect us to fight like every other species they have encountered. They adapt to logical military strategies. Humans do not always fight logically. The change in tactics worked. Instead of trying to win through superior firepower, the human fleet focused on keeping each other alive. When one ship was damaged, others moved to shield it. When a captain was in trouble, the nearest ships abandoned their own targets to help. The machine devourers seemed confused by this behavior. Their adaptation systems could not figure out how to counter tactics that seemed to make no logical sense. Remarkable, Keeper Nexus said, watching the battle unfold. In all our observations, no species has ever prioritized group survival over individual victory in combat. That is because other species are smarter than humans, Jack replied. Using the station's weapons to carve through another group of void feeders, we are too stubborn to know when we should give up on each other. The tide of battle began to turn. Working together, the human fleet and the station's defenses slowly pushed back the attacking forces. But Jack could see more enemies approaching in the distance.
Ow.
This was just the first wave. Keeper Jack said, "How many more of these things are out there?" "Thousands, Admiral. Maybe tens of thousands." This attack was triggered by something detecting our presence here. More will keep coming until the source is eliminated. Jack felt a cold realization. The source is us, is not it? Our arrival here somehow let these things know where to find the station. Correct. Your species has a unique energy signature that these creatures can track across vast distances. As long as humans remain in this galaxy, we will continue to attract these threats. Captain Carter stared at the Keeper. Are you saying we have to leave our home galaxy to protect it? No, the architect replied. I am saying you have to become strong enough to protect it. This is your final test, Admiral Morrison. Can humanity bear the burden of becoming guardians, knowing that your very presence will attract the enemies you must fight? Jack looked around at his officers, at the humans and aliens working together to defend the station. He thought about Earth, about all the colonies, about billions of people who had no idea this battle was happening. We did not come this far to run away now, he said finally. Being guardians means we have to fight these things for the rest of our lives, then that is what we will do. The Keeper smiled, an expression that looked strange on its shifting. Features, then welcome to your new role, Admiral. The real war is about to begin. 6 months had passed since the battle at Haven Station. Admiral Jack Morrison stood in the command center of the newly expanded facility, watching his officers train with architect technology. The station had grown much larger, with new sections. Built to house the growing number of volunteers from across the galaxy, the secret was getting harder to keep. More ships had started disappearing near the edges of known space, but unlike before, these crews were not lost. They were joining what had become known as the Void Watch, humanity's secret guardian fleet. Captain Lisa Carter approached with a datapad full of reports. Admiral, we now have representatives from 23 different species working with us. The Zephyrians have provided their best scientists. The Alterans sent their finest engineers. Even the proud hegemony has quietly sent volunteers. Jack looked at the tactical display showing their current fleet strength. 47 ships, now called Haven Station Home, including his original 12 Earth vessels. Each ship had been upgraded with architect technology, making them more powerful than anything the Galactic Council could imagine. What about the Council's investigation into the missing ships? Jack asked. Director Bell on Earth is handling it perfectly, Carter replied. The official story is that all missing vessels were destroyed in navigational accidents. Memorial services have been held. Families have been compensated. No one suspects the truth. The truth was both simpler and more complex than anyone could guess. The missing crews were not dead. They were training to become the galaxy's secret protectors. learning to fight threats that most civilizations could not even imagine. Commander. Danny Price walked into the command center, carrying a cup of coffee. That smelled remarkably like the real thing. Station's food systems had been adapted to produce familiar tastes from dozens of different worlds. Admiral, we just received a priority alert from our early warning network, Price said. Long range. Sensors have detected another incursion fleet approaching the galaxy's outer rim. Estimated arrival time is 72 hours. Jack nodded grimly. This would be the fifth major attack they had intercepted in the past 6 months. Each wave of enemies was larger and more dangerous than the last, as if something was testing their defenses. What are we looking at this time? Jack asked. Dr. Patricia Woods joined them with her analysis. The sensor readings match a species the architect databases call soul harvesters. They capture living beings and drain their life force to power their ships. How many ships? Over 300, Admiral. The largest force we have faced so far. Felt the familiar weight of command settling on his shoulders. 300 enemy vessels against their 47 upgraded ships. The odds were not good, but they had faced worse. Signal all ship captains, Jack ordered. Full fleet meeting in Conference Room Alpha in 1 hour. The conference room was filled with beings from dozens of different worlds, all wearing the same expression of determined resolve. Human captains sat next to Zephyrian scientists and Altoran engineers. Former enemies had become allies in the face of threats that made their old conflicts seem petty. Captain Helen Ross from the Zephyrian contingent spoke first. Admiral, my government still believes I died in the Kepler expanse. If they knew I was alive and working with humans, it would cause a major diplomatic incident. Commander Roy Fisher from the Lightning nodded in agreement. Same situation with Earth Command, sir. As far as they know, our entire fleet was lost with all hands. Jack understood their concerns. The Void Watch operated in complete secrecy, hidden from both their own governments and the Galactic Council. They had become ghosts, officially dead but very much alive and fighting. I know the sacrifices you have all made, Jack said to the assembled officers. You have given up your old lives, your families, your homes. You can never go back to who you were before. Dr. Alice Turner from the Explorer raised her hand. Admiral, speaking for the science teams, we understand why this secrecy is necessary. If the Council knew about the architect technology, they would either try to steal it or destroy it out of fear. And if our governments knew about the threats we face, added Captain Scott Baker from the Phantom, they would panic. Entire civilizations might collapse from the knowledge that cosmic horrors are constantly trying to invade our galaxy. Jack looked around the room at faces from a dozen different worlds, all united by their commitment to protecting others. These beings had chosen to become legends that no one would ever hear about, heroes whose names would never be recorded in history. The Soul Harvester fleet will reach the Outer Rim colonies in 3 days, Jack continued. Them, over 50 billion civilians, will be captured and turned into fuel for their ships. Keeper Nexus appeared in the center of the room, its form more solid than usual. Admiral, I have analyzed the approaching fleet. Ships are designed to overwhelm enemies through sheer numbers. Traditional tactics will not work. Captain Carter leaned forward. What do you recommend, Keeper? Something unprecedented? A coordinated strike using the full power of the station itself. We would have to move Haven Station to the battle zone and use it as a mobile weapons platform. The room fell silent. Moving the station would mean abandoning their hidden base and revealing their existence to anyone with decent sensors. It was a massive risk. If we do this, Jack said slowly, there is no going back. The secret will be out. The galaxy will know that something is protecting them. But they will not know it is us, Price pointed out. We can make it look like an unknown alien fleet. Keep our identities hidden while still doing our job. Jack made his decision. Signal all ships. We are moving the entire station to intercept the Soul Harvesters. This is what we trained for. This is why we are here. The next 72 hours were a blur of activity. Haven Station's massive engines, silent for 50,000 years, roared to life. The structure that had served as humanity's secret training ground became a mobile fortress, escorted by the most powerful fleet in galactic history, the battle with the Soul Harvesters was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Weapons that manipulated reality itself tore through enemy formations. Ships that had been officially destroyed months ago appeared from nowhere to defend colonies that did not even know they were under attack. When the battle was over, not a single Soul Harvester ship remained. But more importantly, not a single civilian had been harmed. The Outer Rim colonies continued their daily lives, never knowing how close they had come to extinction. In the aftermath, rumors spread throughout the galaxy. Stories of mysterious guardian ships that appeared when danger threatened. Tales of an unknown fleet that protected the innocent and vanished without explanation. The Galactic Council launched investigations, but found nothing. The Void Watch had learned to hide their tracks perfectly. They had become the galaxy's secret protectors. Watching from the shadows and striking when needed, Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of his flagship, now officially designated as the UES Guardian. Around him, his crew worked at stations equipped with technology beyond imagination. Through the viewports, he could see the rest of his fleet, ships crewed by beings from dozens of worlds who had all chosen the same path. Admiral Carter said, "Approaching with the latest reports, long-range sensors are picking up 3 more incursion fleets, approaching from different directions. The enemy is increasing the pressure." Jack smiled grimly. "We had better get ready. The galaxy is counting on us, even if they do not know it." The Void Watch had become exactly what the architects had hoped for, not conquerors or rulers, but protectors, not seekers of glory, but guardians who would never be thanked for their sacrifices. And in the secret archives of Haven Station, one entry stood above all others. No one was supposed to come to the Kepler expanse, but Earth's most powerful fleet had other plans. Because they did, everyone gets to sleep safely tonight.